That's what I was saying. Namaskar, everybody live and everybody in YouTube and video. Thank you for joining us for our class. Our class is number 5 in the series of the Ashtavakra Gita. So we'll start with a chant as we always do. Om Sato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityar Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. So, our 5th in the class, and thank you all for the feedback that you've been giving us online. It seems to be very well received, so we really appreciate that. We certainly welcome everybody to come. I know it's a little hot in Las Vegas right now. And for the brave souls who came live, thank you so much, especially coming off across town. Thank you. Some are close by, but yes, I think that we're going to have cooler weather coming. By the way, we wanted to make some announcements right at the beginning so that we make them. Swami Atmavidyanandaji will be here next Wednesday live, and he will have his talk on nature and God, which is really exciting because he's like the perfect person to give this talk. He's so attuned to nature and growing things, and he's really the perfect person to give this talk. So I'm excited to hear what he has to say. So we invite all of you to join us here Wednesday. Swamiji will start at 5 p.m. At 6 p.m. will be his talk. And his talk will be broadcast on YouTube as well, if you can come. So we encourage you to come live if you can, but to see him on YouTube as well. And we have some exciting things in this fall. We have Swami Medinandaji coming in October, and we'll announce that. And then we also have Swami Arupeshanandaji coming in November. Marup is all the way in France. I don't think he'd be able to come on a moment's notice. So we thank you all for this. So this class, as we always say, this class on the Ashtavakra Gita is more of an experiential class. And so we're going to do as we usually do, which is first we'll do a chant to bring us from the head and our thinking and the world and all these things to our heart. And especially we're going to chant Om Namah Shivaya by Krishna Das for a couple of reasons. Number one, is very appropriate for the Ashtavakra Gita, obviously, because it's this non-dual one awareness and consciousness that we're talking about and experiencing. And of course, Shiva is symbolic of this state of awareness. Also, because Sri Ramakrishna said very clearly that Swami Vivekananda was a representation of Shiva and the power of Shiva. So, incarnation of Shiva, however you want to say it. And his Samadhi was on the 4th of July, which just passed us now. And we certainly honor when a being can choose the day of their departure from their physical body and do it consciously. It says something very serious about this being. And I think we need to really pay attention when something like that can happen. So we honor his Mahasamadhi, not in a sad way. Of course, we weren't happy to see Swamiji leave his body, but when a yogi and a great saint and a great being like that can leave the body consciously, they show a complete mastery over the illusion of this life and life and the bodies that they're using. So we take it as a great sign of respect to him and also an inspiration to us to what we have to accomplish eventually in our own selves. So we want to talk about with the Ashtavakra Gita, we'll do our chant. I thought this class would continue on the theme that last week's class was and finish it, which is grace, and how to attune ourselves with feeling that grace and having that grace express in our lives in tangible ways, in our physical lives, in our spiritual lives, in all ways, and discuss kind of openly some of the blocks that we might have from stopping that beautiful grace coming. As Sri Ramakrishna said, the wind is always blowing, but we're not always opening our sails and we're not always open to it. So the grace of God is always there. It's just our ability to be able to harmonize to it. We block it, actually. So we'll talk about that in our class today. So let's do the chant Om Namah Shivaya. And you guys have this. It's on page 17 in our little books here. Maybe you guys know it from Krishna Das, and I'll do my best with it. It's his beautiful chant, so I hope I do some justice to it. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Shivaya Namah. Shivaya Namah. Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya. Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya. Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya. Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya. Arunachala Shiva Namah Shivaya. Arunachala Shiva Namah Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya. Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya. Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya. Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya. Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya. Shambho Shankara Namah Shivaya. Girija Shankara Namah Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Shankara Namah Shivaya. Rija Shankara Namah Shivaya. Namo Shankara Namah Shivaya. Rija Shankara Namah Shivaya. Namo Shankara Namah Shivaya. Rija Shankara Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Wonderful. Thank you all for joining in on that. So we'll dive right in here today. As we normally do, we're going to kind of discuss a little bit of things from the points of view of some of the different writings from the great beings and the saints and the gurus that we have. And we're also going to use the Ashtavakra Gita as a guided meditation as we do in this class. And so that we do this on the inspiration of Swami Sarvapriyanandaji. We have to give great credit where credit is due. We wouldn't have even had this class, thought of this class without his inspiration on what he's been doing with the Ashtavakra Gita. But he said, Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. So listening, we go through stages of how we absorb and learn these truths. And this is true, especially in this type of learning, which is a very kind of end stage, profound, all-absorbing learning. Shravana, listening to truth, listening to it expounded, reading it, perhaps, if we're lucky, hearing it from a great being's lips. Manana is to contemplate this truth with your mind, manas, meaning your thinking mind. So we're kind of assimilating it in a sense, but in an intellectual way, so that we can open ourselves up to more and more trusting that we can surrender to this with our whole beings. And there's apparently a stage that, you have to become trusting that this is what you want to do with your whole being. You're surrendering with your whole being. And that's not possible unless the mind comes along with you in a sense. So this manana is all the classes that you can take online. You can read the texts, you can contemplate it, you can argue over them, you can have debates, you can do all of these things. And this is certainly a part of the path. Nididhyasana is something that's very kind of, in a sense, a little rarer, but also very, very different. And that is when all of a sudden we start to really experience this ideal, this reality ourselves. We actually have tangible, life-changing experience with these truths or these states of awareness. We have them ourselves. There's experience, when Swamiji first had his experience, Sri Ramakrishna touched him lightly on the head and the chest, and he went into the complete understanding and experience of the non-dual reality right there. Of course, this is an amazing being, and these are, not everybody is a Vivekananda, and there's certainly not too many Ramakrishnas around. But this is the Nididhyasana ideal. And so there's different texts, as Swami Sarvapriyanandaji has explained. Different texts are from different point of view. There's some texts that are basically expounding this truth from a great being's point of view to our ears, Shravana. There's other texts that are really argumentative texts. Manana is these great argumentative texts that have been written, and commentaries and all these things that have kind of hashed over from different points of view. And that's fine. We certainly can listen to those and read those, and we can go on lifetimes with this mental gymnastics. And it may not change our lives. It's not satisfying. And this is the big key. The Nididhyasana is when we have this full awareness for ourselves, even just for a moment. It's a breakthrough. And so these things become real to us. So we'll use this book as a guided meditation because it's written on a reverberating this truth in your consciousness. It's not like words and intellectualized. It's like these truths are just emanating from its own source. There's such a beautiful transcription, especially this translation by Thomas Byram that we use. It's really done beautifully, because I've read this book now in other translations, and it doesn't come anywhere near this beauty. Of course, in Sanskrit would be the ideal, but none of us are Sanskrit scholars, and we'll leave that to the amazing beings like Swami Sarvapriyanandaji and Sarvadevanandaji and all the great Sanskrit scholars we have in our order. By the way, this class will eventually end. I know it's going on a lot, but eventually it will end. And I kind of figured out what we might want to do next is we might want to do something on the reboot. This is an amazing text, also written in an Nididhyasana state of mind. Ramana Maharshi was very keen on, when this was first read to him, he said, that's what I'm experiencing. That's my state of mind. So it states the same thing. And it was translated from Sanskrit and Tamil. It was originally done in Sanskrit, and it was also translated anciently in Tamil. So we have a translation. I found a great translation, beautiful translation that's done from both. So that could be our next subject, and it's a beautiful extension. Because when we have the finish of the Ashtavakra Gita, I think we'll be sad that we're out of this. So let's talk a little bit about this idea of grace. And so this is kind of the ideal of that we've been talking about, and this is from Srimad Krishna. There are three kinds of devotees: superior, mediocre, and inferior. The inferior devotee says God is out there. According to him, God is different from his creation. The mediocre devotee says God is the Antaryami. Sorry, my mistake. The inner guide who dwells in everyone's heart. The mediocre devotee sees God in his heart, but the superior devotee sees that God alone has become everything. He alone has become the 24 cosmic principles. He finds that everything above and below is filled with God. Reading the Gita, Bhagavata, and the Vedanta, and you will understand all this. It is not God in his creation. So this is kind of a very strong statement, and it's kind of hard to say, are we an inferior devotee? Are we a mediocre devotee? I guess that we'd fall in one of those two, I suspect. But it's kind of interesting. So this is kind of the. Now, this is from Swamiji, and I really love this. This is something I'm so happy that I found, and I read this before, but it stands repeating. This is from Swami Vivekananda, of course, for those of you who may not know, when we say Swamiji, we mean Swami Vivekananda. Sadhus and yogis in the early stages see everything as external and try to get their instruction and their blessings from outside. I roamed about the whole of India, my forehead swollen from being banged against the floor through prostrating. At the time, a little peace would come, no doubt, but shortly it all would go away, and I would become very depressed. Nothing happened, nor was there any hope. Finally, I got disgusted and so dejected that I gave up all external practices, all bhakti. Then I decided that as I had got nothing from outside after so much search, let me see if I can get it from inside. I would renounce everything, even give up the body. There was no necessity for a life spent in vain. And I would begin to search inside. I extinguished the external world completely. In the interior world, I saw something tremendous. There, the external seemed a mere trifle. Little by little, doubt began to lessen, and my dejection abated, and I began to have self-realization. Then a strength and courage came into my heart. The inner vision is far superior to the outer, and natural dignity or manliness comes from the vision of the self. Ordinary heroism is clumsy person's heroism. It lasts but a little while. In a moment, a person can become crestfallen and cowardly, but the manliness of those who have seen the self is full of fire, enduring, and uncontrovertible. This is, as usual, Swami's amazing strength of expression. But it's very, very amazing to kind of see that there's a real theme here. There's the stage of life when we are separate from God or our creator or our divinity, and we have a relationship with that, okay? Coming up from the ladder, coming from the bottom to the top. And we have to figure out something that works for us in that reality, because we can imagine we're thinking differently. But if we truly don't have a different reality from that, we really need to be honest with it and create a good one, create a pure one, make ourselves transform so that we have a closer relationship. So we go from seeing God as something completely external to seeing ourselves, as they say, as part of that God. And they're the whole, we're a part. So we go from this totally separated connection to God and making some relationship with that, to where if we do that correctly, we can really start to feel the same essence, the same being as that God. And now there's a completely different thing that happens, isn't it? Before, really think about this. If we have a complete separate relationship with that divinity, we either feel we're worthy of that love and those blessings, or we don't feel we're worthy as an ego, okay? So there's always this conflict going on. Sometimes you feel it's okay, sometimes not. And there's a real problem. We have a real problem with this internally. It causes great psychosis. There's this not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy, not feeling close to God, or even we feel ashamed to be near anything holy because we are so ashamed of how we're living or what we're doing or something like this. And so this is a real situation that it's really wonderful in my mind that there is in the Indian tradition and Sanatana Dharma a step-by-step path. No matter where you are, you're not something forlorn or going to hell, or you're not forsaken forever. Everybody will make it. All the great beings here said that same thing. Everybody will make it. You would always, and this is the key, it changes when you realize who you are and what your substance is. When you have that revelation, there's no more ability for you to say, I can no longer be connected to this God, because you are. You are one substance with that. That's why it's so important to go from this separate Shravana kind of experience and thinking experience to Nididhyasana, where you have some experience of that unity. It takes so much pressure off of you. It removes it, and as Vedanta says, it in the end, it takes all suffering away. Even the possibility of suffering, even any occurrence that could be considered suffering is not even possible in that state. So this is the whole ideal, going from one, where we are, to that reality. And so it's so important not to just be thinking about this, but to actually be doing this. So how do we do it? Swamiji and Sri Ramakrishna, Swamiji was specific in that you can use the 4 yogas to be purifying your own state of awareness. And each of us has our own nature. And what's so beautiful is that we can go to the teaching and the path that follows our own nature more. And so we don't have to make ourselves other than what we are. We need to purify where we are. So there's the 4 yogas, as many of you guys already know. You have Bhakti Yoga, you have Karma Yoga, you have Jnana Yoga, and you have Raja Yoga. So these 4, and we'll discuss them a little briefly. But it's easier to start with Bhakti Yoga, and if you cannot do Bhakti, even more so Karma Yoga. And so this is something that Srimad Krishna wrote about Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga removes the bondage of Maya and unites a person with God. And why not? When a person thinks day and night of the Lord while doing his duties, the Lord is sure to manifest himself in that person. Devotion and knowledge are identical in the end. People do not understand them well and mistakenly think that they are different. What is bhakti, devotion? Love for God and playing with him in various ways. The devotee says, thou art the master and I am thy servant. Thou art all is thine. Knowledge also means absolute love. The love is so intense that the jnani, a man of knowledge, never wants to be separated from God. He wants to become one with him. Hence he says, I am he, I am Shiva, the absolute. Hanuman, the prince of devotees, said to Sri Ramchandra, Lord, when I have consciousness of the body, then thou art the master and I am thy servant. When I consider myself as Jiva, or individual soul, then thou art the whole and I am thy part. And when I think I am the Atman, That is in samadhi state. I feel that thou art I, and I am thou. There is no difference. And that's from Bhagavad Sri Ramakrishna. So this is the idea. This is the idea. So how can we progress? I think the first thing is introspection and find out, how do you really feel about things? Be really honest. Sometimes we have to go with a scalpel inside of ourselves and maybe write down a little journal. I used to do this, and I still do. But I was very, very good at writing these journals down about what I had occurred to me and what was really honest about me and how I felt about God. And if you really do feel unworthy, what's really wonderful is you can do things without motive immediately. You can immediately start to do nice things, and maybe you have a motive of to cleanse yourself or to feel pure again. That's okay. There's no worries about it. You don't have to be perfect. You know, you can make a bargain with God. I'm going to try to do this better, and you will feel that removal of that block step by step by step. So as Swamiji said, what is karma yoga? It's very simply, you do actions not for self-motive, not because you want to gain something for your ego or yourself, even if you need them, but because you want to give them as a offering to God for the highest good. And however ways you want to do that, there's a couple different ways. One is offer them to the Lord as a worship. So whenever you're doing anything, say, Lord, all the merits, all the things that are great, I give to you. I have no desire. I don't wish anything from you. This is a gift of love to you, this thing. If you're doing something for someone else, if they come across your path and you can do something wonderful for another being or an animal, do it without motive, without expectation for anything. And it's very pure activity, and it washes the soul, as they say. And it's a tangible thing. It's something you can feel pretty quickly, because but be careful, because sometimes you can feel a little bit prideful that, oh, I'm doing these wonderful things and I'm being so selfless. It's a tricky thing, the mind. And we're complex beings, for sure, because that ego can creep in there too. But you can catch it as long as you're aware of it. But if you can be as unconditional as possible, it's a truly revolutionary thing that can be done, honestly. And the second thing is of course, that's easy, is bhakti yoga. Just constantly with love in your heart, thinking of God, chanting God's names, taking the name of the Lord during the day, repeating God's name, a mantra if you have it, or just becoming closer to that being you feel God is, and just in love and adoration, day by day by day, setting aside a little time to do some form of devotion to the deity that you feel in your heart. It doesn't matter how we do it. Doesn't have to be a formal puja done every day. You don't have to light candles and wave flowers and all these things. We do because we love to do it, but you don't have to. As long as God takes even a leaf, even a slight in the Gita, anything you offer to the Lord is accepted. And little by little, we start to feel that connection with God. And so we feel more, even if there's been a horrible, Sri Ramakrishna said, the sins of 1,000 births can be washed away with the tears for the love of God. All these things can be done. All these things could be in the past. But here's a key thing too. You need to let them go. If there's something in our past, we need to be very willful that we're not going to repeat that, but then let it go. Don't keep it on your shoulders. Don't keep it with you. It's a sin against your nature, because all of these things that were ever done in the world were created in the mind and the thought of God. You didn't ever create any thought yourself. You didn't create any activity. So there's nothing you can do that hasn't been already set in motion in the beginning of time. Does that make sense? So this is a really liberating thought. You're not by yourself conniving to make all these horrible sins. It's impossible. All you're doing is vibrating in that already thought out path of not, Ma's boat has all forms in her, all energies in her. All we need to do is let go of those and start holding on to the other natures of God, the other thoughts that are floating always in the ethers, that are thought by the great ones. And so it's a great liberating thing to forgive ourselves. It really, really is. There's one of the the exercises I used to do and I was taught when I was young in a group called the School of Metaphysics. And I'm going to read something from them in a second. And it was called The Secret Sin. And it was you write down the thing that you were most guilty, you felt the worst about in yourself, whatever you did that you really felt horrible about and never forgave yourself. And then you would read it out loud to yourself, not in front of anybody. And then you would burn it, or you would tear it up, or you would destroy it. And you would release yourself and forgive yourself. It was really visceral. If you keep it in your mind, it's only certainly effective in a certain way. But if you do something physical, that's why all these pujas are so helpful. If we do something physical with thinking, it brings it out into tangibleness. And we are able to really have a much more forceful thought and releasing all those things. So getting rid of all of the things that don't belong is all we really need to do is purify ourselves. The sun is always shining. We just have to get away from the dark forest of our negative stuff and come out into the open. And that's all we're doing is just purifying our heart, our soul, and that's all of sadhana. So this is what they're talking about. So now, there's other ways that in the world, there's things that we need in life. And there's things that we need to accomplish and want to accomplish. And Swamiji was very forceful, and he said, if you want to become a millionaire, become a millionaire. If you want to be famous and do that, do it. Don't make it a secret thing that you carry for lifetimes that you don't ever accomplish. But once you do accomplish these things, many times you realize, okay, well, that was great, but it doesn't satisfy my soul. It doesn't reveal my own inner being. It's not possible to have something outside of you make you really at peace and satisfied where all these pains are gone. So you'll always still want more, but it's important to go step by step in discarding these things. So as we do karma yoga, you'll find that you create a tremendous punya, a great merit, great things that, the more things you do, the more things you give out, you can get into a very abundant state of mind. That's why a lot of these very wealthy people were in Ramakrishna's life and they devoted their money to serving Ramakrishna. Some of them, were, of course, if you gain money and you are very selfish, that's going to cause a lot of problems. But if you want to have this desire, then fulfill it. Maybe monks have done that in their past life and they don't need to do it anymore, right? So, but I think that you need to be having a clear slate. So this was written from the School of Metaphysics, and I will read this, just the parts of this to you. It's from 1996, actually, and it's kind of interesting. I just thought I would use different sources of information, and this is titled True Success. It says, close your eyes and imagine that you have total freedom to choose to be at any place you want. There are no worries or distractions from being totally contented. You can choose any companions you wish. You can have whatever kind of body you wish for experiencing this situation. You have access to a vast storehouse of knowledge, and you can go any place, anytime you wish, just by the power of your will. A love and joy that has no beginning or end always wells up within you and all around you. Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? But the reality is that a level exists in each one of us in which this is our natural state. And this description is only a mere hint at the true dimensions of this reality. In many ways, what exists at those levels doesn't really translate well into our everyday consciousness. But within each one of us is a vague memory of a divine birthright that pushes us to desire all we have temporarily lost. In the Bible, there are a few passages that describe this inner reality very clearly. In John 10, verses 34, we find, is it not written in your law, I said you are gods? Clearly a picture of hidden divine essence. And in John 14, verse 12, Jesus affirms, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also. And greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. We relate this inner power the best way we can to the world around us. In this world, divine love prompts the desire for a mate or friendship. Divine power translates to a desire for a worldly power. Divine abundance compels a quest for riches. Inner knowing causes us to reason and understand the world around us. The soul's beauty is seen here as physical beauty. These physical desires are really a very natural and deeply rooted part of our true nature. The key is to harmonize the outer conscious mind with the dynamics already existing on the inner levels of consciousness. It is important to understand that the physical equivalents to soul powers are not meant to take the place of the realization of the self. At best, they are a prod to remembrance. Then they can be a natural reflection through the conscious mind of soul riches. I thought that was really sweet, quite profound. So it really gives us this idea that, the divine powers that are within all of us are truly, truly amazing. Of course, this physical world is only one part of this creation, and Thakur talks about this, and a lot of the great masters do. And in different levels, we are different beings, and we have a tremendous amount of spiritual essence and power that we're not even aware of. So we're kind of in a dark room, not even knowing who we are. So then this is the last part. We'll just finish with on this reading. So so the concept of giving and receiving is a vital one to understand how to manifest our own inner divinity. It is best described by the Bible verse, "You cannot cast your bread upon the waters without it returning to you tenfold." This is also known as the law of tenfold return. But how many times have you given only to be disappointed in its result? Again, the mental component is all important in the operation of the spiritual laws. Let's take a closer look at the verse and see if we can find any clues. If you see the picture presented, you are casting bread out onto water. In order to cast or throw, you must release the bread completely before it can be taken by the water. The best word to describe this attitude is unconditional. When you give, you must detach the act from the end result. If you have a strong picture in your mind of what you wish to accomplish, you don't have to guess at which direction it will come from. Don't attach certain people to the fulfillment of your goal. Just know the right people and circumstances will arrive to allow you to create the best result for all concerned. In order to start the cycle of giving and receiving, we must first give and give rightly. A big part of our learning in life is to become better and more efficient givers. We must become more valuable to the marketplace. As you uncover more in yourself to give, you will receive a correspondingly greater return. We must also realize that in this physical world, it is impossible to manifest the whim of every individual. Hitler and Napoleon both can't rule the world. This physical world is the only level of consciousness that mixes so many degrees of evolution together. So a sure way to abundance is to lead others to abundance. You can create anything you wish that doesn't hurt or enslave your fellow man. As the scripture states, that what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? This is Matthew chapter 16, verse 26. Finally, never allow yourself to stay at a low level of momentum. This is a sure sign of lack of growth. Learning to consciously express all the wonderful things we hold inside is all we have to do for eternity. Since time is not the issue, we can fully enjoy every nuance of the existence, consciousness, and bliss that we always have been and always will be. So that's from a Thresholds magazine from 1996. If any of you guys want a copy of that, we can maybe get it to you guys. So this is in our state where most of us are. This is the reality of how we can really divinize our desires. And this is what Tantra tells us about, is take all of our natural, physical, emotional needs and desires and spiritualize them. Find the highest expression for them, like Thakur has talked about, and he went through in his own life and showed us what Tantra truly is. So this is the way that we can progress slowly but surely to the higher state of now we're a part of a substance with that divinity. And so there's no earning or trying to earn or be good. All we have to do is keep on releasing all the things that we are not. And what's left are the things we truly are. And then finally, that final state, and this is so beautiful, and then we'll start with our meditation. These are written, and this is, since we're going to do the Rabu Gita, I'll give you a taste of it here and then a few other things that describe that final state where there's really now no more cause and effect. There's no separation between what our state of awareness is and our center of consciousness and that total essence of awareness that we call divinity or God. And it becomes one awareness without end, without beginning, without separation. So this is how it's described. And then this will lead us right into the Ashtavakra Gita. So this is verse 10 in the Ribu Gita. Remain as he in which there are no fears for hell, no joys for heaven, no worlds of God, the Creator, nor other gods, no object to be obtained from them, no other world, no universe of any kind, and always be happy, without a trace of thought. So beautiful. The Ribu Gita is really strong. This is from Shankara. I prostrate not to the gods. One who is beyond all gods does not salute a god. After that stage, one does no prescribed act. I prostrate again and again to my own self, which is the root of all endeavor. The Lord facing the south, Dakshinamurti. The Lord Shiva in the shape of a spiritual teacher. Himself has composed this work entitled The Definition of One's Own Self, which will dispel the darkness of ignorance and will carry one across the shoreless ocean of phenomenal existence. The sky of my mind is illumined by the sun of the Master, who is the Lord Vishnu, that causes the lotus of realization to blossom. So I think that is enough for our preparation for the Ashtavakra Gita. So we'll move into our guided meditation. But this is, hopefully I was really reflecting on this today, or this week, when I was preparing for the class, this idea of really just find out where it is, how you really feel about divinity around you, and what is blocking you from really surrendering and really feeling that essence coming in, that you're part of that essence. What's blocking you? Is there any guilt, or is there any fear? Is there any hesitation? All these things. Maybe you're worried about your family. Maybe you're worried about money. All these things. They're all fears. And Thakur has explained to us that all those things have to be given up to be able to be reeled in by God. So we'll do our meditation, and then I'll read some chapters of the Ashtavakra Gita as a guided meditation, like we've done in the previous. We'll do maybe 4 or 5 chapters. And what we want to do is be able to, at will, become that state of awareness, pure awareness consciousness, that is the essence of all bliss, all joy, being happy. Nothing is existing except for that awareness, which is happiness itself. And stay in that. So how to do so? Again, Swami Sarvapriyanandaji talked about Kashmiri Shaivism, and he gave a technique that I it's a form of something I've done for 45 years, and I found it to be really helpful, and that is Soham meditation that we've done before. So we'll do that again as a preparation to get into that state of that non-dualism, of that non-functioning of the mind, just that thoughtlessness, that pure awareness. And then when the Ashtavakra Gita verses are read, just stay in that state of non-dual awareness. And when the words come, feel like they're coming from the center of your being, the center of your consciousness. And they really are. That's really where they're coming from. And let them unfold and see the essence of what they're saying and experience it. Don't listen with your mind, with your thinking mind. Let them come welling up into your own state of awareness, into your own being, and let them transform you. And so when you read these, the verses again, when you're on your own, you can start to re-experience that. That's why it's nice when somebody else reads it to you, because it takes the mind out of the way. You don't have to really feel like you're thinking about it. So let's do our simple pranayama, which is what we do is we breathe in with a double inhalation through the nose. And then we're going to tighten the whole body as we do. We're going to do this 3 times. And then when you get done with the inhalation, just hold it for a couple of seconds and then breathe out through the mouth, double exhalation. And release all of the air from the lungs. We want to breathe in, filling the entire lungs all the way down to the diaphragm with fresh oxygen. And then we breathe out all those toxins, all that negativity, all those things go away if we can release all of that air. So you should hear it. So if you do it this part way, it's not going to work the same. So if we actually hear the breathing, and then you'll know that there's something deeper going on. And then, once we've done the 3rd exhalation, just let the breath stay out for as long as it wishes to. And then let it become its own, like you're observing somebody else breathing. You become the awareness, the observer, and somebody else is breathing. And when that other person starts to breathe in, you'll chant so. And then just let it be there. And when it desires to exhale, mentally chant hum. So hum, I am he. With every breath, you're affirming reality, your own reality. And you can practice this. If you take this and you really do practice this on your own, you'll find you really can get to a state of calmness and peace anytime you want to. It's an amazingly effective pranayama. The thing is to stay away from the back of the chair if you can. Asana is helpful because the energy in the spine is very, very subtle, and that can help us in our concentration. The spine is straight, and if you're sitting cross-legged or feet flat on the floor. So let's do the breathing, and then remember, on the 3rd exhalation, just you're watching somebody else breathing. When that breath comes in of its own accord, you're chanting mentally so. And you just let it stay in for as long as it wants to, and hum. What you'll find is if you practice this for long periods of time, which we won't do now, because we're going to do the guided meditation, you'll see the breath becomes very, very fine and very light. And there may be periods of time when you're totally not breathing at all for long periods of extended time. Kumbhaka can happen where you actually don't breathe, and that's the highest state of concentration, and it's the most peaceful state. So it's something you can achieve with this meditation if you use it and practice it and make it your own. So okay, so we'll do the breathing exercise first, and then the 3rd one, we'll just do the Soham for just a little while. And then I'll start reading the Ashtavakra Gita. Okay? So let's do that first inhale. Hold. Exhale. Inhale. Hold, clenching the body. Exhale. Release off the tension. One more time. Inhale. Hold, tension. Release. All the tension go. Now you're observing someone else's breath. When the breath wants to come in, mentally chant so. Let it stay as long as it wishes. And when it goes out, so. Chapter 8, the mind. The mind desires this and grieves for that. It embraces one thing and spurns another. Now it feels anger, now happiness. In this way you are bound. But when the mind desires nothing and grieves for nothing, when it is without joy or anger, and grasping nothing, turns nothing away, then you are free. When the mind is attracted to anything it senses, you are bound. When there is no attraction, you are free. Where there is no I, you are free. Where there is I, you are bound. Consider this. It is easy. Embrace nothing. Turn nothing away. Chapter 9, Dispassion. Seeing to this, neglecting that, setting one thing against another, who is free of such cares? When will they ever end? Consider, without passion, with dispassion, let go. My child, rare is he and blessed, who observes the ways of men and gives up the desire for pleasure. Nothing lasts. Nothing is real. It is all suffering, threefold affliction. It is all beneath contempt. Know this. Give it up. Be still. When will men ever stop setting one thing against another? Let go of all contraries. Whatever comes, be happy, and so fulfill yourself. Masters, saints, seekers, they all say different things. Whoever knows this, with dispassion, becomes quiet. The true master considers well. With dispassion, he sees all things are the same. He comes to understand the nature of things, the essence of awareness. He will not be born again. In the shifting elements, see only their pure form. Rest in your own nature. Set yourself free. The world is just a set of false impressions. Give them up. Give up the illusion. Give up the world and live freely. Verse 10, desire. Striving and craving for pleasure or prosperity. These are your enemies, springing up to destroy you from the presumptuousness of virtue. Let them all go. Hold on to nothing. Every good fortune, wives, friends, houses, lands, all these gifts and riches, they are a dream, a juggling act, a traveling show. A few days, and they are gone. Consider, wherever there is desire, there is the world. With resolute dispassion, free yourself from desire and find happiness. Desire binds you, nothing else. Destroy it and you are free. Turn from the world, fulfill yourself, and find lasting happiness. You are one You are pure awareness. The world is not real. It is cold and lifeless. Nor is ignorance real. So what can you wish to know? Life after life you indulged, in different forms, different pleasures, sons and kingdoms and wives, only to lose them all. Enough of the pursuit of pleasure, enough of wealth and righteous deeds. In the dark forest of the world, what peace of mind can they bring you? How you have toiled, life after life, pressing into painful labor your body and your mind and your words. It is time to stop now. Chapter 11, Stillness. All things arise, suffer change, and pass away. This is their nature. When you know this, nothing perturbs you, nothing hurts you. You become still. It is easy. God made all things. There is only God. When you know this, desire melts away. Clinging to nothing, you become still. Sooner or later, fortune or misfortune may befall you. When you know this, you desire nothing. You grieve for nothing. Subduing the senses, you are happy. Whatever you do brings joy or sorrow, life or death. When you know this, you may act freely without attachment. For what is there to accomplish? All sorrow comes from fear, from nothing else. When you know this, you become free of it, and desire melts away. You become happy and still. I am not the body, nor is the body mine. I am awareness itself. When you know this, you have no thought for what you have done or left undone. You become one, perfect and indivisible. I am in all beings, from Brahma to a blade of grass. When you know this, you have no thought for success or failure, or the mind's inconsistency. You are pure. You are still. The world with all its wonders is nothing. When you know this, desire melts away. You are awareness itself. When you know in your heart that there is nothing, you are still. Chapter 12, Fulfillment. First I gave up action, then idle words, and lastly thought itself. Now I am here. Ridding my mind of distraction, single-pointed, I shut out sound and all the senses, and I am here. Meditation is needed only when the mind is distracted by false imagining. Know this, I am here. Without joy or sorrow, grasping nothing, spurning nothing, O Master, I am here. What do I care if I observe or neglect the 4 stages of life? Meditation, controlling the mind, these are mere distractions. Now I am here. Doing or not doing, both come from not knowing. Knowing this fully, I am here. Thinking of what is beyond thinking is still thinking. I give up thinking, and I am here. Whoever fulfills this fulfills his own nature and is indeed fulfilled. sit in happiness. Even if you have nothing, it is hard to find that contentment which comes from renunciation. I accept nothing. I reject nothing, and I am happy. The body trembles, the tongue falters, the mind is weary. Forsaking them all, I pursue my purpose happily. Knowing I do nothing, I do whatever comes my way, and I am happy. Bound to this body, the seeker insists on striving or on sitting still, but I no longer suppose the body is mine or is not mine, and I am happy. Sleeping, sitting, walking, nothing good or bad befalls me. I sleep, I sit, I walk, and I am happy. Struggling or at rest, nothing is won or lost. I have forsaken the joy of winning and the sorrow of losing, and I am happy. For pleasures come and go. How often I have watched their inconsistency, but I have forsaken good and bad, and now I am happy. We truly want to thank everyone who came, all of you on YouTube. It is truly a joy to spend these hours with you. I learned so much myself when these things I read. I just get so inspired. I just hopefully you're feeling the same with these readings from these great teachers and trying to experience them ourselves. I sincerely try to suggest, going through and doing the journal, finding out where you're at, how you can really start to change the things that you want to, so that there's no separation from you in grace and all of these beautiful concepts. And the Ashtavakra Gita shows us that it's as simple as just being there and realizing that is what is true. But if we have something stopping us, we can get rid of it with that sadhana. And thank you all so very much. We look forward to having Swami Atmavidyanandaji here this Wednesday. And this class will start also at 6 p.m. and we'll start the YouTube at that time. And we'll also have all of these on our YouTube channel at the Las Vegas Vedanta Center. So you can look at our YouTube channel, and all the talks from all the Swamis are there, and also these series of talks as well. And we wish you all a very wonderful, wonderful weekend and week. Jai Swami Vivekananda also. Thank you all.